Namaste, everyone. Welcome into this introduction on working with your intuitive guidance with myself, Taya Raine. If you've never worked with me before, I want to just let you know that I have a wide range of things that I work with, and it falls under the umbrella of the Tara Mystery School teachings. Inside of this work, connecting to the intuitive guidance, I would first love to say that no matter if you are completely new to working with your intuition and your guidance and getting that connection going, or perhaps you are a long-term adept, maybe you're even a channel, a psychic, maybe you feel like you've been very deeply connected your whole life, there might be something here new for you as well. So no matter where you are on the spectrum, and I say this because I've really seen it to be true over the years. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. And as we do that, I want to welcome you to just settle into your body, just beginning to really let go of outside thoughts, worries, distractions, letting go of anything that is going to prohibit you from really experiencing the fullness of this here and now moment. Now, as I'm speaking, I want to now welcome you to just begin to really feel into your own body, check in with your awareness, see what might be being stimulated, what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, what you're processing. Allow it to be almost like a mini little class that we're in at the same time that you're here to receive this introduction to see if this coursework might be right for you. Okay, so when I think of working with intuitive guidance, one of the first things that I think of is that all small children have that connection to source, right? Have that connection to magical beingness, to the flow state, to imagination, spirit guides, and so on and so forth. And then something in our childhood begins to take place, and it literally is right at about the age 7, or exactly at the age 7, perhaps, that part of us begins to kind of go to the background. And we begin to connect more and more with our logic and more with our interpretation of the world around us through that lens. And we begin to do things such as copycatting others around us, adults, shows, media, right? Very often, and checking in with yourself, by the time you are a pre-adolescent, you've kind of lost state of that whole existence. And our world that is very logical, right, and very linear in the West begins to carve us out to be beings that are disconnected from that huge realm of intuitive guidance. And we're walking that very linear, logical path, right? So I know very few people that manage to go through those teen years and maintain that within themselves. So checking in with yourself, what is true for you? Maybe you are one of those rare beings that's just always managed to keep that. Maybe you don't remember feeling intuitive and connected as a child. So we start right there in the coursework. We begin to explore our inner child state. That part of us makes up, in my experience, and what a lot of teachings believe at this point, and a lot of science points to, a huge amount of our subconscious. So in our conscious day to day, we're here as the adult, right? But how much of us inside is that huge realm of our child self? So we begin to learn beautiful tools and teachings and techniques. And I can tell you the value on this is huge to allow us to explore that inner child state. Through that, we begin to heal things that maybe we didn't even know needed to be healed. We bring up long lost memories, long lost connections, and we begin to learn to work with that consciously so that that part of us is more interwoven with our human self, our adult self, our in the moment self. And in that sense, we become more whole so that we're no longer walking as just this adult self that is, again, come to be perhaps very logical and linear, is maybe trying and striving to get that guidance, but can't always find it. Sometimes it's that child self that needs to bring about that connection. There is so much to that, and I honestly could teach volumes of courses on this and this alone, or write many books. So trust me when I say the value is huge, getting that child self on board. So again, checking in with your awareness. And one last time here before we move on to the next subject. How does that land for you? Does it feel exciting to explore that inner child realm more? Are you not too sure about it, but you're open? Or you think that isn't for you? You can also always hop on a 20-minute call with me by request to dive deeper into what this course is about and ask me questions. But let me say, even if you don't think that one is for you, inside of this coursework, there is so much more that we do. We have 7 full days of 90 minutes. 5 of those are live calls, and 2 are recorded in the end. So we can dive pretty deeply. Each class begins with a share. So the beauty of that is that you're developing friendships and connections. And there is huge value in communicating our inner self outward to a community that we feel safe and grounded within. And hopefully, you've already had that experience in your life a bunch of times. But if you haven't, trust me, the value is always huge. And so often, people have incredible breakthroughs. The space alone that is held is very sacred. It's very clear. It's just like this flowers, beautiful crystals, and I'm holding space for you to explore as you open up to communicate your thoughts around your guidance and what you're looking for. So we work with a lot of intention. We then move into offering some prayers, pretty simple prayers, but just opening the space to receive guidance. Okay, so the next thing that we work with is so very exciting. And it is the practice of learning how you best receive. So we all have ways that we best access our guidance, and some ways that aren't so accessible to us. So checking in with yourselves again, is there a way that you feel you can access the connection more than in another way? For example, as I'm speaking to these different things. So the first is audible. So checking in with yourself. Audible means that you hear things, and it's an internal hearing. So you might hear that you feel the voice of the divine, or voices of the masters or spiritual beings coming through. Or perhaps you hear the wind speaking to you, the fire speaking to you, the waters, the earth, the ethers. So that's number one, audio. How do you feel with that? How does that land for you? Do you feel that is perhaps a realm for you to really explore? Do you feel an aha, like, oh, I think I do receive that way? Or you know that you do, and you like to utilize this time to really connect in with that on the course. All right, the next is visual. So many of us are very visual. When you close your eyes, do you tend to see visions? Do you feel that you're receiving a vision and then you're interpreting that into your realm of intuitive guidance? Or does that feel for you like, no, I never have visions and I wish I did? So everyone has a particular way. Tuning in with that, where do you feel on the spectrum of visual guidance? All right, next is feeling. So some of us often feel that we have a feeling coming over us. It's feeling realm. So maybe it's a wave through the heart and you feel something is opening, and then you're interpreting that into intuitive guidance. Maybe you're smiling, you're laughing, you're crying. Maybe your body is shaking. Maybe it's very subtle, but there is simply a feeling, a sense, a knowing. So again, tuning in with yourself, because we're letting this be this little mini class here as well as the intro, right? So where does that land for you? Do you feel that you are a feeling being, or is that one perhaps not what is there for you? Okay, so the next one is a sense on the skin. So some people will often describe getting chicken skin or goosebumps, right? Or a chill or a shiver on their skin. So that's a very, very powerful way to receive, and it's one we can often discredit. So again, checking in with yourselves there. How does that feel for you? Does this feel like something that lands as a big realm for you that you are already really connected to, or has this never happened to you in life? Wherever you are on the spectrum is totally fine. Checking in with our awareness is so crucial, isn't it, to how we receive? Because if we're not sitting with our self-awareness, how can we possibly bring that into beingness, this intuitive guidance? Okay, so that just gives you a little bit of an example on what we explore within that realm. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a deeper understanding of how we work with that. So we will begin when we're at that part of the coursework with a share, again, where you're opening up to describe yourself and explore and set intention. And then we dive into getting you in touch with how you receive and developing that and opening that up so that it can really prosper and flourish within you. It is such a beautiful gift, and I have seen it create infinite transformation seemingly for people, huge, huge shifts, and seemingly opening those infinite doors of perception. So we spend quite a bit of time in that place of just honing in on that, connecting in with how you best receive. And maybe for you, there are several ways. So I've given some examples, but when we get into the coursework, we dive deeper and we really flesh them all out. And then what we do is we begin to practice. So this brings us to the third and final part of what we do on the coursework. So we practice by going within. Sometimes I'll have you standing, sometimes I'll have you seated, sometimes you will lie down, sometimes all three inside of the class. And as you are in whatever, posture you're arriving in on that particular part of the class, I then guide you within into a series of meditations that help you connect to that guidance and then to ground them. This is one of my absolute favorite things to do out of all the different things that I offer. Bringing people through guided visualization is such a blessing. When I bring you into that particular aspect, I kind of go into a very trance-like, very calming state so that you're following a very soothing voice, but at the same time, it's very focused and it's very direct so that you can really stay adhered. And at the end of each of those meditations, visuals, and there might be a tiny bit of breath work sprinkled into those, you then have the chance to ground that. And we use many different techniques to do that. I will say just in brief that part of that is staying inside long enough that you really capture the messages and you're guided in ways to really allow for the highest retention of that guidance. It's very incredible how this works. This is how I work with guidance myself. And then sometimes I'm going to have you write and journal a little bit on the class and after the class. You will always bring to you whatever the work was from the day before into what we're working with the next day so that each class flows into the next. And not only do you have the value of being in that the entire week, those 7 classes, but I suggest and advise that throughout the days, you're treating it kind of like a mini retreat for yourself. So I give you ways to go and explore this beautiful realm of guidance and to ground it even with physical objects, for example, and how you drink water and how you ceremonially ground that intuition, how you begin to work with nature more deeply to ground that intuition. So that's a little bit on what it is that we do. I will kind of finish up by saying that the tone of it all is very inspiring. It's very activating. It's very energizing. It's very motivating. It's very unifying, working with the group as a whole. And it also, again, has aspects when we are in that meditative state that are incredibly calming and deepening and peaceful. So there is the balance of the two. I feel in most things that I do, I'm always looking to give you the balance of the two things so that that high energy that we're looking to develop when we come into these courses also has a very calming, grounding, soothing effect where we can really anchor it all in. I will close out by saying, I promise you the results have always been phenomenal for myself. This is something that I've been doing since I was 17. And I have seen incredible transformations again for all kinds of people, no matter how they receive. There is a way to bring it home and to develop that skill even more. And lastly, I'll just reiterate that even if you're somebody that's well adept, this could be a time for you to just be inside of this container and really use the, I want to say, like the place where you can have accountability and inspiration with a group to ground your guidance. So, using that time of the visuals and the journaling and so on and so forth, and then seeing what else might develop beyond what you're already so adept at doing. I know so many of you are already just well along your paths. I hope that I have explained this well enough. If you need to know more, if you have questions and answers, please do email me, ask your questions. If you want to hop on a call, please do. This is the very first time I have offered this at such an incredible price, and I'm doing this to really support the summit and to reach as many of you as I can. And I love creating the group container and working together. So I hope to see you on the course, and wherever you might be. I am here in Hawaii, I'm on Oahu. So blessings and aloha from Oahu.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.